Hey, this is Tim Kim with TM Media, and I want to talk to you about naming your brand. Whether you're a service company or you're a company launching a product, you have to have a brand name, and there has to be some investment and thorough thought into that name. I'm gonna give you basically my top 10 list of what I think needs to be thought about when you're coming up with a brand name. And above and beyond this, there's probably about 30 or 50 other topics I could talk about then, and that I would go into in great detail with clients. And I'm sure there's other professionals that will come up with other topics to discuss. But I'm just going to kind of keep this quick and give you my top 10 on what I think needs to happen when you're thinking about your brand, you're naming your brand. Number one, you have to be unique. And I know that's fairly vague, and a lot of people say that. Um, but you have to look at your industry, and especially from an industry standpoint, you need to look at what else is out there. And, you know, just different stores, different products. If you're a product company or you're a service company, what else is out there? If you can spark a trigger in someone by coming up with a unique name, that helps. Naming companies after your own name. Like I know a lot of products. Uh, I've seen a lot of products named after the owner of the product, and I'm not crazy about that because I don't think it really differentiates you unless you're some celebrity or something. I just don't think that helps. So definitely try to be unique. Keep it short. My next one is keep it short, but there are exceptions. When I come from, basically, I deal with service companies and I deal with a lot of products. The best test on reading something, being able to read something quick, is either going by a shelf on a store or driving by a billboard with your car. You got a split second to really get a message over to the consumer. So I like to usually keep my brand names fairly short. Now, again, there are exceptions, and 20 years down the road, with all the media we get thrown at us, there might be 10 times that, and we might have to go to longer names, and I might change my whole conversation on this. But that's kind of what I really lean towards keeping it short and sweet. 5 words a little too is kind of long for me. 2 words are great. 3 words are okay. 4 words to five, it's a little too long for me. Being bold. You want to not be too safe with your naming, and I know there's a lot of companies out there I've dealt with, and I've seen names, just brand names, that I can just tell they were being way too safe. I tell clients if they're on that fence of should I be safe? Should I come up with this name or do my but I'm afraid to offend someone. I usually just say go bold because I would rather see them, if they have to offend a few people but they're getting attention, then I would rather have them be bold, offend a few people and get attention rather than being boring and being lost in the background. What a brand name conveys and really connects to a very good brand name, it connects, gives a sense to the consumer, the culture of the company. And it's really, that's a that's an easy thing to say, but it's a tough thing to do. And that's where it really helps to get someone that has some background in this to really brainstorm with you and collaborate with you on coming up with a name. You know your company the best. No one else is going to come in and just whip up a name for you. They need to collaborate with you, understand, really understand your company. So your name gives a personality of that company and just gives an overall feeling. Um, the name and your naming, and if you're a product or you have a website online, it connects immediately with the emotions of the consumer. And I'll discuss this in depth later down the road, but a lot of times, or most of the time, we make decisions based on emotion, on how we think, how we feel about something, how it looks, you know, just many different variables. And if your name sits in well with that, with giving a person a certain emotion, then you're going to have a good success at getting people to pick up the product or connect with you online and do business with you. So when you look at your brand name, or you're considering your naming your product, think to yourself, try to put your perspective from a consumer looking at that online or on a shelf, and ask them how they feel when they read that name. Ask yourself, what does that consumer think about? And try to be objective as you can without kind of just unlearn what you've learned about your whole company, and really empty your brain and put your eyes, put your brain, put your eyes through the consumer's eyes, and what that name's going to communicate to them. Product positioning. Your name and your visuals will establish a position, and that definitely has to do with your naming and other things as well. How things, again, basically how the entire package makes someone feel, and the name is a variable in that whole entire package. For instance, there's a cosmetic company I was talking to the other day, and they had a crocodile on there that was kind of cartoony, and they had a name that was really kind of cartoony and really casual, and it really looked like a product for children, but it was actually a product for adults, and it was a skin cream, and it just didn't look right. So when you think about your name, think about the target that you're trying to reach and you're trying to communicate with. Is it people over 30? Is it kids? Is it teenagers? Is it seniors? Whatever it may be. So keep that in mind when you're coming up with a name. Now, if you're launching a product or you have a service that's going to spawn other products off that, for instance, you have Microsoft, and then you have Microsoft puts out a product called Outlook, puts out a product called Explorer, many different brand names. If that's the case, figure out how your corporate name will be in line with a product name. Or if your product name is it, then that's it. But a lot of times people get into that where they haven't thought about that too well, and they're trying to figure out, okay, we got a great corporate name, but what do we do with a product name? Or we have a great product name, what do we do? What's our corporate name? Or the two, they've already made up the two and they really don't mesh. So that is definitely that needs to be thought out if you're coming out with multiple products. Now, I know there's some advisors out there and consultants that will say you live and die by your name. You know, I believe that to a point, and if you're a big national company and you have a lot of exposure, then I think, yeah, it's probably it could definitely affect you if you went tomorrow and changed American Airlines to something else. Sorry, that just went off. If you're again, if you're a larger company, I can see that affecting something like that. If Goldman Sachs changes its name tomorrow, then yeah, it will get news. It would, it's just going to get more exposure. If you're a small company, yeah, you could use a consultant. Do you have to spend millions of dollars on one, or thousands of dollars on one? No, you don't have to. You definitely don't want to spend $50 on it, and I would definitely invest some money. But unless you're a multi-million-dollar company, then yeah, I would say you need to pay me anywhere between $10,000 to $100,000 to look at naming your corporation just because it's worth that. If you're a company that's making under $1 million or under $500,000, under $200,000, then you're not going to need that level of expertise, and it's just not smart to do that. It's putting your eggs in one basket. That's pretty much all I think I have. I think I covered everything I have here. So, any questions on this? Any comments? Any concerns? Any debates? Whatever you want to say, I'll be happy to look on. I'll be happy to look at your comments and follow up as much as I can. Thanks for listening, and good luck.